Your Excellency, Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Honorable John Briceño, Prime Minister of Belize, Honorable Ministers of Foreign Affairs of Guyana and Belize, Honorable Dr. Ashley Singh, Foreign Secretary, officials of Guyana and Belize, members of the media. Good evening. Witnessed by President Ali and Prime Minister Briceño, I'd now like to invite Foreign Minister Courtney and Foreign Minister Todd to sign a Memorandum of Understanding on renewed and enhanced cooperation between Guyana and Belize. Under this Memorandum of Understanding, Guyana and Belize agree to work with each other in the areas of agriculture and food security, trade and investment, tourism, education, energy security, infrastructure, technology, climate change, and any other area of mutual interest, with the aim of developing a cooperation partnership for the benefit of their respective countries, peoples, and the wider Caribbean community. Specific initiatives have already been agreed upon for the provision of technical cooperation in agriculture, the development and strengthening of technical cooperation in the field of tourism, and the establishment of a roadmap on climate change cooperation activities. The MOU will be implemented by a joint commission presided over by the respective foreign ministries and will include experts from representatives of the public and private sector. The Joint Commission, it is expected, will have its first meeting within 3 months of the entry into force of the Memorandum of Understanding. Ministers, you may now exchange the agreement. Thank you. President Ali and Prime Minister Briceño will now make some brief remarks, and I'd like to invite Honorable Prime Minister to first address you.
Thank you very much, and good evening to everyone. President Ali, foreign ministers, different ministers and members of government. It's certainly a real pleasure to be here in Guyana. I like to tell my colleagues in Belize that that when I just started coming around for the heads meeting, I always felt like a visiting cousin, because in Belize we are way up more north, and most of the other islands are closer together. But I must admit that President Ali was one of the first that embraced me with friendship, more than just being a colleague. And I must thank President Ali for that friendship that he has offered me, and has made it so much easier for me to be able to become a part of the whole integration process, if I could use that word, among with my other colleagues. I want to, and because of that friendship, we have been talking a lot about Belize and Guyana. I was saying to him that there's a lot of similarities that we have, especially if we were to look at the older buildings, because now Guyana is on a modernization spree, if I can use that word. The wooden buildings that you have, you would believe that you're in Belize City. Even the English Creole that we use, it is easier to understand. I mean, I have difficulty understanding our Jamaican brothers and sisters, but here in Guyana, it's so much easier. And when we started to talk about the similarities, we realized that there are so much things that we can do together. And one of them is agriculture. As you know, President Ali has the quote-unquote ministerial portfolio for food security in agriculture and food security in the region. And Belize has had a lot of success when it comes to the issue of agriculture, just like Guyana. And so we started to talk about, ideas, what we're doing, our new government has been doing, and what he and his government are doing. We talk on issues of climate change, protection of our environment, our forests. Guyana is known for the pristine forest, which yesterday I had the pleasure of flying over, and as I was said, all you just see is a tree cover for miles and miles and miles, which very few countries have. Well, in Belize, we have 30% of our country under protected status also. So again, we are seeing similarities on how we can cooperate in the work that we are presently doing or in our different countries. And it is through these discussions that we felt that maybe we should sign a cooperation agreement between both countries. Earlier in the years when we were coming to independence, Guyana and Belize had a very, very close relationship and friendship. But I think that over the years that has drifted apart. I believe that today, now with the friendship that President Ali and we have developed, and Eamon and his counterpart and so many other members of the government, I really truly see both countries once again renewing that friendship, strengthening that cooperation, assisting one another in different ways that we can. And so for us to be able to sign a cooperation agreement this evening, to me it is a sense of accomplishment, a sense of achievement, and a sense of happiness that we are moving in the right direction. So on behalf of my government, on behalf of the Belizean people, I want to thank President Ali, his government, and the people of Guyana for that friendship that they continue to offer, that support that they continue to offer, and now for this cooperation that we have just witnessed the signature between our two foreign ministers. That's it. Thank you so much, and may God continue to bless both countries. Thank you.
Mr. President, I'd now like to invite you to make your remarks.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Harper. My dear brother, Prime Minister of Belize, John Biceno, my brother Eamon from Foreign Ministry, the Foreign Minister of Belize, you thought Minister Dr. Ashley Singh, our Foreign Secretary, the representatives here from Belize. Today is not only the signing of an agreement, it is the sealing of what I would say exceptional personal relationship and commitment translated into national good. As President Biceno said, we have been talking a lot, exchanging ideas a lot. And in Belize, when we had the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting, which I think was a very transformational meeting, a very important meeting of CARICOM, where some key decisions were taken, some key commitments were made in advancing this process of regional integration. One of the decisions was something we termed the coalition of the willing. And discussing with Belize the possibilities and understanding the possibilities of each individual country that makes up CARICOM is critical. Belize, for example, opens up tremendous doors for us in the support in Guatemala for our sugar sector, Mexico, Honduras. So in expanding our diplomatic work and reach in our network to those countries, Belize is a natural ally in mobilizing, helping us to mobilize understanding of our policies that we're driving. because as you know, Guyana is transitioning in terms of its international image. And Belize is not only part of the CARICOM community, but as part of that integrated whole through which Guyana can advance its cause. And Belize, on the other hand, can advance their cause with Brazil, for example. And we are very happy that we could have facilitated the visit to the state of Roraima by Prime Minister John Messino and the Foreign Minister and his delegation in understanding how we can expand this integration and how we can create a huge hub in CARICOM itself to support the aspirations of the Brazils of the world, the Guatemala, the Mexico, the Honduras of the world. And that is the two important extremities that we can bring to bear in CARICOM. Because as we have said in the last CARICOM meeting, we have to rethink how we deal, for example, with northern Brazil, integrating the south-to-south cooperation and what it means for us. Both of us are very key on agriculture. If we combine our efforts with that of Suriname, we can have enough land asset to deploy to meet the food requirements of CARICOM, both from an input perspective and an output perspective. And these are some of the things that has captured our discussion, and now we're setting up a structured institutional mechanism to advance the discussion. Long before the 3 months, the ministers of foreign affairs will have to come up with us with targets that they will establish. How we can ensure that we develop the infrastructure to have all the hatching eggs in the region produced between the two countries. How we can expand our capacity for grains. How are we going to collaborate on climate change going into Glasgow? Because we have similar circumstances. We are already talking about how we can exchange ideas on education and healthcare. Because if we're going to build first-class infrastructure in Guyana, then that infrastructure must be for the service of the region. So technology transfer. So more and more you will see a lot of these bilateral arrangements and agreements. We recently signed an agreement with Barbados. We have an agreement with Antigua. We are working on signing an agreement with Trinidad and Tobago in August. Now we are signing an agreement with Belize. St. Lucia is coming to sign an agreement, so that in a bilateral way, from a country to country way, if we can't collectively say we're going to remove all the barriers to trade, individually we're going to work in the working group to remove the barriers within ourselves. And eventually, the barriers will be diminished. So I'm very pleased today that we have taken this official step in advancing the discussions we've been having at the foreign ministry level, at the prime ministerial level, and setting out a clear path through which we're going to structure our dialogue and engagement to achieve particular results. You know, in my visit to Belize, I thought that only in Guyana we have the extensive use of the caravans. But when I went to Belize, it is the same. Caravans are used to transport the tourists, and a lot of the pilots there are Guyanese. The pilot that flew us were all Guyanese. So how is it we can integrate our aeronautic engineering school and our flight school into helping the development of the human resource for Belize? These are all now not only matter that we can dream about, but matter that we can develop the structure to advance forward. So, to my dear friend, Prime Minister Messino, I want to assure you that your personal touch and commitment to this relationship, your humility, and your frankness and openness, and if I may frankly speak, you don't carry the robe of excitement and pomp and ceremony that sometimes accompany the office. And that allows us to break down barriers in building relationship and advancing cause. I assure you that you have a friend, and the people of Belize have a friend in the people and government of Guyana. I wish you and the people of Belize continued success, good health, and assure you that together we'll advance this cause for the benefit of the people of both countries. Thank you.
We are one Guyana, a place of peace, a place of love.